Breaking fucking Records Radio.
Breaking Records Radio, you know what it is. Host Maloney in the place to be. We got Makzwell Skot beside me. And we got two very, very special guests with us. It is the Snowgoons, DJ Illegal and Deck Gunner of the Snowgoons.
Word.
How are y'all doing?
Chilling, man. Yeah, we just got to Toronto, you know. Business as usual. It's
Yeah.
beautiful to be here, yep.
And
busy.
word up. Well, I know you guys are staying real busy because I just seen that you guys just did a video with Locksmith. What was that, 2 days ago?
Right.
In New York City?
In New York, yeah.
Yeah, and that's off the upcoming Goom Bap album.
Exactly, yep.
And you guys got that dropping December 12th?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the Goom Bap.
Well, yeah, like you already said, it's gonna come in December 12th. We finished the album already, and now we're shooting all the video parts. So we're traveling East Coast and all the way up here even to Toronto to, you know, filming all the parts from the featured artists that we have on the album, and trying to knock out as much as possible. So we just have 10 days staying here on the East Coast, and so, you know, we just like scheduled in everybody, and now we're just traveling from city to city. We have been to Philly, all over Massachusetts already, Boston, and, you know, New York, and now finally we're here in Toronto, meeting up with Werewolf, knocked out a super dope video as well, so we're gonna keep it rolling.
What'd you guys knock out today, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, it's a video from the Boom Bap album, obviously, but the funny shit is we started that video 2 years ago. Like, we filmed the performance scenes for that video with Signature and Sean Strange like 2 years ago on our tour, and it kind of got pushed on the side a little bit, you know, like Werewolf is very busy, Snowgoons is very busy, and so yeah, now since we finished now the Boom Bap album, we picked up the video, and now we basically finished the storyline to the video. So the performance was 2 years ago, and now finally we have the storyline, and it came out pretty sick though. I mean, I can tell so far this is the dopest video we have from the album.
Say word.
Yeah, for sure.
Shout outs to Real Wolf.
Shout out to Real Wolf.
Tell him the place to be.
Yeah, he's here
Got
right now.
zombies up in that shit.
And I do want to ask
that's
about
all,
your
man.
guys' relationship together, but prior to that, I just do want to touch up on the album again. Can you let any cats out of the bag about some of the collabs you got on there?
Yeah, like the thing is we basically almost every day announcing now somebody, because we didn't drop the track list yet.
Yeah.
And because, you know, obviously for Snowgoons album, it's always, people are very excited about the featured artists, because we're not just like artists who like rhyme ourselves or like have tracks. We have always features. That's what it is about Snowgoons.
Yeah.
So we drop in every day in a specific way, like the different artists that we have on the album. And the thing is, the Boom Bap album is mainly focused on the 90s. It has a 90s sound.
Yeah.
So obviously we work with a lot of 90s artists, like from the golden era, like, you know, cats like whatever, PMD, like so many 90s artists. But for now we're just announcing, like, let's say the newer cats, like the younger artists or like family that we work with all the time. And like you mentioned already, Locksmith is on the album, obviously. Right Hook from Boston and Screwtape from Philly, they're on the same track. So this track is now done with the video and everything. And so honestly, I can't really, you know, announce any other names though, because we want to keep it rolling every day and post some new names though. But if you follow on our Facebook page, you will see now pretty much every day we're announcing a new artist. So
Okay, cool.
I guess just stay on the Facebook page.
So can you tell us about your label, Goonsick Music? What can we hope to be expecting from you in terms of releases in the future?
Well, first of all, the name of Goon Music, our label, was put together by the constellation of the Snowgoons and Signature before he actually even came into the crew. That's why we write Goon Music, like Goon from the Snowgoons, obviously. Music is obviously the music we're doing, and but we're gonna write it like M-U-S-I-C-K. So the Sig at the end stands for Signature's name. So it's the combination basically of Snowgoons and Signature.
Wow.
Combined in Goon Music, the name we spell it out.
Okay, so it's a bit more deeper than just sort of,
exactly.
People
Just
might
like
think
a
that
name,
you've just spelled it like graffiti or something.
Right,
It's to represent signature as well.
Exactly, and like I said, the idea of that spelling was before even Signature was officially in the Snowgoons. Because he came into the crew. I mean, we go back with Signature since the second album though. But before he became an official member of the Snowgoons, a couple of years, like we had this idea, you know, to create a label, our own label. And then the second thing about Spoon Music is basically we never really wanted to be a label, like a label in the classic sentence, meaning like we signing artists and just putting out records. It was more or less a startup and a jump off for our own. Basically, we want to use it as our own platform, you know.
Yeah.
Like we want to have Goon Music representing the Snowgoons, basically, and like I said, not a regular label who putting out like random artists.
Was that because of like maybe I know sometimes artists get frustrated when they're dealing with major labels and stuff. Is that because you want more control and be able to put out a more like a pure product representing yourselves, like?
Yeah, exactly. More control is one thing. Owning your own music is the other. That's a big difference as well.
We were talking about that today on the way up here about our music.
We played around with it, like that was a side story. It was kind of interesting. You know, we sampled some stuff and hooked up with that band, a band from the 70s. Had like a big Billboard top 10 hit. You know, we hit him up. These guys must have been like what, like 65, 70 years old, still active on Facebook. So we hit him up and they said, "Hey, send over the track. You know, track with Master Ace." And they was listening to it and said, "Wow, bang, you know, and we're all down, but you gotta go through our label." What's your label? Universal in LA. So we hit up Universal, over 40 years old, and you know, all about the money, ridiculous sample stuff, you know, so we said we just leave it alone. And when we talk to these guys again, and they're in their 70s, and they say, whatever we did 40 years ago, we don't own. Universal still owns everything.
Wow. So it makes you think about...
and this was something like, well, we did the right move, you know, no matter what, no matter how big the sales were, you know, if you're on a creative end, and you're creative and doing your own music, it should someday be your music. And you're just giving something away, like a product yourself. You know?
Yeah.
So we're happy that we're doing our own stuff. So this giving us control and also giving us like everything inside our own pockets, and that's the way to go.
That's a really cool like first-hand way to feel reassured on that too, as well.
It's inspiring for other artists to have successful hip hop artists out there that are independent and have control of their own music, because it makes people believe that they can still go and do that. So like, peace to the Snowgoons to just like flying the flag for like independent music and being in control of their own stuff. So hopefully when they're 70, they can look back and they're still going to own their own music. You know, they're not going to be having any regrets. So I was checking out your discography online and looking at your timeline to see what releases I still needed to cut. And I've seen there's a lot on there from 2007. You've consistently released multiple projects every year with no gap in between. How do you keep that momentum and consistency and still maintain your dynamic year to year?
I mean, well, I think a big part of it is because Snowgoons, we are like 4 members, and everybody brings some to the table, you know. It's like, obviously, four people can do more than just one person. So that's one of the things why we have such a big outlet, you know, because like I said, everybody in the Snowgoons brings something to the table. We are a very strong team, and another thing is basically the music for us is that's our passion, you know. We are really driven by the music, and I guess if I speak for me personally, I just can't stop really. Like since I'm young, actually, I was down with the music, and I started spinning, and so even as a young kid, I was 16 years old and was spinning in clubs basically, where you even couldn't go in technically, you know.
But because you're an artist, they
so
make an exception, right?
Exactly.
Because you're so good, they're like, yo, you got to let this young guy in because you got to hear his mixes and stuff, right?
Something like that, you know. It's just, in my city where I grew up in Germany.
What is your city, by the way? I'd really like to know.
Where I grew up is called Gralsheim. It's like a very small city in the middle of Germany, more or less in the south. Okay. And it's close to Stuttgart. People might wanna know Stuttgart, Mercedes-Benz, Porsche and shit.
Yeah. What up?
Like I guess my luck was there was a military base, you know, from the States, because after Germany got divided, and in the south of Germany was a lot of military bases where the Americans stayed. Okay. And when I was young, I got connected through my school with some kids from the military base, and I became friends. So I was chilling all day at the military base. Was playing basketball and stuff.
And so is that where the hip hop started coming through?
Yeah, I
He
mean,
can't ball.
just as a kid.
Oh, gee. Catching
So,
jokes.
Was you always DJing? You was holding the ghetto blaster, right? Playing the tapes. The other guys play basketball.
So the guys come through. Were you already exposed to hip hop in Germany, or was it mainly from the airbase? Did people? What kind of tapes
I guess both, because also another influence for me personally was my uncle, basically. I remember I must have been like maybe 8, 9 years old when I was playing even like still with my brother like Lego and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I remember we loved to just listen to music while we played, though. Like we could never really play just like there quiet. We always listened to music. And my uncle, he put on his cassette tapes though, and there was like mixed up music on it, like pop music, like Nina, 99 Balloons and shit, like all that old stuff. But there was also Grandmaster Flash, The Message on it. And I remember that was my most favorite song on the whole tape, before I kind of even knew that this is hip hop or this is rock, and like I didn't even care about genres. I just cared I just like music in general. And I realized like that song was my favorite song on the tape. I even knew sometimes, like when you know, back in the days when you just had like tapes basically, or vinyl, I already knew how much I need to push forward to go directly to that song, more or less. You know, like I knew the time.
Even from like an analog.
Yeah, because you know you couldn't skip back in the days. You just had to push forward or backwards, whatever, if you want to hear something. And
I remember that with the jungle tapes, man. Just go.
You know? So yeah, and that was one of the influences, I think. And then obviously, the military base, because it's like I was hanging around with all the kids, and they was all into hip hop and stuff. And
what kind of tapes were you getting exposed to it? What kind of stuff were you hearing in that era?
Like I said, there was just my uncle with like mixed up music, basically pop music, you know, soul, Michael Jackson, whatever, any kind of music. But like I said, the Grandmaster Flash, that song when that came on, that was my favorite. I don't know, I heard it was different. Like the song is called The Message, and it was kind of a message to me. Even if I didn't at that time, I didn't understand any words of English. Like I just spoke German. But I could still feel the message, I guess, in a way, you know. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's if I think about it, sometimes that's crazy. So
that's
and then like
I still feel like
the
that's
earliest I can remember when I kind of realized this is the type of music I really like. I actually got some records, Run DMC, for example. You know, like all the late '80s basically stuff. And my first record that I actually ever bought was Me, Myself and I from De La Soul.
Oh,
which
shit.
came,
just Me, Myself and I.
Yeah, like, but you know, it was just because, not that it was my favorite song or record, but it was just basically in my little city, the record section they had there was like probably like 2 grades or whatever. It was a super small store.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much the only hip hop record they had. So
and we're talking back in the day when it was only records, only vinyls.
This was 1990, you know, like it's like there was no internet, like no nothing, you know, like you couldn't just go online and look up some stuff, you know. You had to like go out, explore, and like even like TV and stuff came a little bit later for me. Like the first hip hop thing on TV was Yo MTV Raps in like '92, I believe. Yeah. Because we didn't even have cable TV back then, so we never had like MTV or any American TV.
Mm-hmm. But I can imagine in Germany back then.
You know,
they didn't want that at all. Like it came much later, right?
Nobody knew that shit basically. And then, but we moved to a place and they had already cable in there basically. So I remember, that was pretty much the first time I turned on the TV there after we moved in, and then I turned on MTV and I was like, oh, MTV, I heard about this, yeah, dope. So I was watching, and then like a couple minutes later, Yo MTV Raps was coming on, and I was blown away. I saw like, you know, NWA videos and all these videos. It was the first time I ever seen like hip hop videos, and I was really blown away. I just stood in front of the TV. I think I even didn't sit down. I was just standing in front of the
just
TV,
an amazement.
and then put in the VHS tape and like recorded it and watched this shit all over and over all the time. Like, you know, I mean, back then it was just a different time, man. You know, nowadays you just go online, do whatever you want, listen to whatever you want.
You forget it half the time.
But back then you have to dig and really like, you know, like enjoy it.
Do you think it's that kind of the era that you're from that give you the kind of the integrity to keep it moving the way that you do? Because you're coming from where you've had to really work hard to even be a fan of hip hop. So you think you maybe carried that into your music? Because I just wanted to kind of understand like how you keep putting so much music out so consistently, and you know, you're one of like the only groups that is like so big in the hip hop scene. You know what I mean? I just think it's quite an extraordinary, you know, like feat you've managed to accomplish, like being from Europe.
Yeah, you know, in my case, it's really safe to say that like hip hop saved my life, like, and I really mean that. It's like, I know it sounds like some, you know, shit that everybody's saying, but like literally, like I knew already, like I dropped school and like I worked a little bit, and it's not like that I don't like work or something. I work quite a lot though to buy my first turntables or something.
I bet you got to work a lot right now, right?
Stuff, you know, so I don't mind like physical work. It was just like, I always knew I need to go my own way and do my own thing, like no matter what it is. Back then I didn't even realize that it was basically music, you know, because I just loved to do it, and I was never thinking about like, oh, this is gonna be like some sort of my job or like my income or whatever. I didn't even think about money. I just knew I need to go my way, and I love the music and I like to do that. And so with that being said, like now hip hop is really giving me identity, and it feeds me, and it's like basically, like I said already, my passion, and it gives me everything I need. So it really saved my life, like it formed me, and for that I'm always going to be grateful to hip hop and the hip hop culture. And I guess that's also another part, like why we always going to do our thing and keep it, you know, basically keep it real and keep it true to the culture, you know. Seriously, like it's a sort of responsibility you have too, you know, like too many people abusing that. And I grew up, I'm fortunate enough to grow up in the poorest form of like the 90s hip hop era, you know, where people, originally the golden era is the late 80s though, because
people don't know that, right? There's 10 years of rap before before the 90s, right?
You know what's also funny, like when we grow up in that time, for us that hip hop, like, you know, Wu-Tang Clan, Nas, Mobb Deep, all that 90s stuff, for me, that's not old school, but I see now the younger kids, they call that old school.
Yeah.
For us, the old school is like the 80s.
World-class wrecking crew.
Breaking fucking Wreckords Radio.